Prepare yourself for List Off, the gaming podcast where your hosts, Brian and Ryan, rank the things they love. 3, 2, 1, List Off!
You won't find any red rings of death here because we are talking about our Xbox X-travaganza this week. How's it going, Ryan?
Good, Brian. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Did you know that Microsoft paid out $1 billion to fix out all the red rings of Xbox 360s?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was like the total on it.
I didn't get anything for mine.
Really? You never had a red ring?
No, I did. I just never got any kickback. Like I didn't see any of that $1 billion that was sent out by Microsoft. So I feel kind of hurt by that.
Oh,
it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I
went through a couple.
Not going to take it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to that, I do want to know what you've been playing this week.
Well, I'm sure this topic will come up later in the show, but I've been playing a lot, mostly Halo Infinite, which of course we do have on the docket to discuss. So I'll maybe really the biggest thing is this is eating my time, and it's not a bad thing. I just want to play it all the time. It's so good. Like, spoiler alert for the rest of the episode, but it's so fun to play. But I'll talk about what I've been watching.
Yeah.
So I watched a few shows. I made it through the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye, which are now available on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And it's good. It's really good. I had talked about it on the show, on this podcast before, about that. I read this series of comics written by Matt Fraction that they're kind of pulling some of the characters and story beats from. So far, the story of the show is doing its own thing, but it does use some of the same characters. And it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. I never really cared for Jeremy Renner or the Hawkeye as a character. I'm sure most people probably feel that way.
Sure.
But this is definitely letting you get to know him a little better. And I actually think Jeremy Renner is really good in it, surprisingly.
Yeah. What is the timeline of it? Where does this sit in the greater Marvel universe?
I think it's 2 years after Endgame.
Okay, so it is 100% after Endgame.
Yeah, so I think it is currently the furthest along in the timeline we've been, because I think WandaVision was about 6 months after Endgame, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And like Loki, time doesn't really matter. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't think we're too far after Endgame either.
Okay.
So
I remember him having some money problems, and I only saw the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that was like, you guys saved the world, but you're having money problems.
I thought that was kind of cool how they brought that into it.
No, it's totally cool.
Like, we don't get paid to be Avengers, right?
Right.
And like, Tony Stark is gone, so if he was the money line, like, that's not happening anymore. And I thought that was kind of neat. But Hawkeye's really good. I would definitely recommend checking out. They actually have Matt Fraction on as a supervising producer, so that is really cool that they're incorporating the person who worked on the book that they're pulling from. I know there's been issues in the past with like creators of properties not being paid for the things they've created, especially when it comes to Marvel. So it's neat to see that they did bring him in some way.
Good.
And then I also watched the first 3 episodes of Wheel of Time.
So I don't even know what that is, but I've heard good things.
It's a fantasy series. I did not read the books or anything. It's fine. The show's fine, but like, there's a pretty low bar for fantasy. Like, I never expect anything to be as good as the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I'm never disappointed. Game of Thrones was a huge surprise. I thought that was definitely the best fantasy in recent memory.
Right.
And obviously late seasons had their pitfalls, but as a whole, it did a very good job of adapting those stories. It only ran out when the books that weren't written, when it started getting into the books that weren't written, is when it started running into problems. Anyway,
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, of course. But like, this Wheel of Time it's fine. You could definitely see where it pulls from Lord of the Rings, but it's kind of hard to escape that. Any fantasy books that were written after Lord of the Rings definitely have callbacks to it. It's just, inherent in the fantasy genre, I think,
Right.
because it did so much for the genre.
It invented it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the magic's a little weird. There's some choices that characters make where you're like, I don't know about that. So there is a little bit of there's some problems with the show, but it's fine. Like, it's turn your mind off, watch fun fantasy, and you won't be disappointed. Not my favorite show though, by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. So did you play any games this week or watch any shows?
So it was only Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. We watched our Great British Bake Off. So that's about all we did TV wise.
Did you ever see the old internet video, Old Greg? I'm Old Greg.
I'm aware of it.
So the guy from yeah, exactly. Come on down to my anyway. So the guy from the Great British Bake Off is Old Greg, right? The guy with the long hair.
Really?
The long black hair. Yeah, he's Old Greg.
Noel? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
I got to look that up now.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I like that now.
Yeah, I never really got into baking shows. I just have a hard time. To me, like, I could be watching something else.
I hear you. This one is way better than any other one that I've ever seen. It's so wholesome. Like, everyone's nice. It's not like American TV where it's just like everyone's yelling and mad, and they like help each other sometimes. So I think it's just a good wholesome
I have
show.
seen that. Yeah, I have seen that. I do like Nailed It actually on Netflix.
that one's funny.
Yeah, the host is a lot. Like, she is a lot to handle sometimes, but it's always funny, and like, it's normal people, and I love that they give them like unrealistic time constraints to make these like beautiful pieces, and they always come out like mutilated, and it's a lot of fun.
That one's funny for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, it's all Halo, and we are going to get into Halo here. So I think it's a list of stuff that we're covering, so still falls into the list off category for sure.
Well, it's our mission report, so we don't have to pigeonhole ourselves into anything. Yes. It's going to be a good discussion, though. For
sure. Yes. So you want to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right. Well, let's just start at the top here. We're going to cover Halo Infinite.
Absolutely.
In as much entirety as we can. The game is not out yet, but this is the multiplayer that we're covering at this point. But a lot of it is going to carry over in terms of weapons, at least, and locations, I imagine.
Yeah, I think as far as the multiplayer is concerned, 343 came out and said that they will not be adding maps or guns on December 8th, which is technically the release date. So there's not going to be, we are getting basically launch multiplayer right now.
Yeah. That's fine. There's a lot, and we're going to go over it here, but there's a lot of content here already. I would imagine maybe in the season 2 they'll probably add more stuff, or maybe they're just banking on the co-op and Forge at that point. But I'm excited. I think that I really want to strap into Halo and see everything that is going to happen. The campaign I am very eagerly awaiting, as I'm sure you are. All the previews that I've seen, it's just incredible. That we can't talk about too much.
Right.
But
well, I do want to say, like, I am definitely eagerly awaiting it, because it will help me figure out where this is going to fit in on our Game of the Year list. Like, right now, I'm not, no spoiler, I think I'm really enjoying it, and it will most likely be somewhere on my top 10 plus an honorable mention, right?
Sure.
And now it's just a question of where, and if that campaign nails it, like, it has the potential to be pretty far up there.
So before we begin, I want to get a little bit of history on your experience with Halo, and I'll kind of delve into mine a little bit.
Cool.
But what have you played? What of the Halo franchise have you played.
Yeah, no, I really like that you're calling me out right away, Brian. It makes for a great dynamic. No, I'm kidding.
Just to make sure that you're authorized to talk about Halo in any real capacity. We talked about
this, Brian. We talked about this. Hey, anybody is authorized to talk. Have you picked up a controller and played Halo? Cool, yes. You can talk about it. So I did play Halo 1 and 2, and now playing Halo Infinite. So I did get away from the series. I felt like, I mean, I probably played some of the Halo 3 multiplayer.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I never played the campaign or anything like that. I do feel like it dropped off a little bit after Halo 2. I kind of didn't like the cliffhanger. And I was able to figure out what happened by not playing the game, so I really didn't see a purpose in playing it myself. But
sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Halo when it was a newer property, and I find myself enjoying it more now than I did then, even. So
yeah.
How about yourself?
I think you should play at least Halo 3 and also Reach and Halo 4. I think all of those are really good. So I've played everything except 5. And that includes like the
ODST and
played ODST.
Halo Wars.
Halo Wars I played. Wow. I didn't play Halo Wars 2, so I guess it's 5 and 2. But I mean, Game Pass. It's all there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I did want to get into the Master Chief Collection prior to Infinite coming out and at least go through that, but it's tough, it's because right now the multiplayer's here.
Yeah. I mean, the campaigns are lengthy too. They're like 20, 30 hours on some of them. But yeah, I've always loved the Halo franchise. Not in the beginning. This is one point that I wanted to bring up where I was definitely on the GoldenEye Perfect Dark, like this is the way FPS is supposed to be, and Halo was such a departure from that, and I really fought and did not like the game, but then playing the campaign really sparked it for me, where I was like, oh, okay, I see why they're doing this, and it redefined the FPS genre, at least on consoles, and yeah, it was amazing at every single release. This was I was very close to doing exactly whatever creative director about tattooing the date on his arm. Like I was fanatical about Halo whenever they were coming out. So
pretty wild. So you're a big fan.
Big fan. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely would not classify myself as a big fan.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, the series isn't for everyone. There's a lot of different FPS, and if you're not even into that so much, then this is not going to do much for you, but I'm excited to see where they're going, and the multiplayer's already been great. So
definitely
a lot of pros.
Yeah. So what any specific pros as far as the multiplayer goes? Anything that really stands out for you? Because you have more experience playing Halo games.
So this is my first time ever playing a PC Halo, which, I mean, that's kind of most people, because it wasn't until, I mean, yes, there have been releases on PC, but for like modern era, Master Chief Collection was kind of the first foray into it. And yeah, that alone makes it like a whole new experience for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen just like me aiming around in the game is like, it's way fast, like it's so, but that's the thing, is that it translates so well from controller to the PC. It still feels like Halo. Everything about the control feels very much like Halo, and I think that is just, everything that goes into it with the time to kill and the shields and grenades and how powerful they are. All of that is exactly as it needs to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been really impressed with how they translated that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it reminds me of those old school Halos, and I've heard other people mention it, and it's true. It's a difficult thing to go back to those games. They're not what you remember them as, but it's even more difficult to nail what you think it was, right? Like, you remember it playing a certain way, and even though it was obviously much slower, it's really difficult to nail that thought. But I think 343 just nailed like how we remember Halo playing, not how it actually plays, but how we remember it playing, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the speed that right there is something that is very different from what it was in the past. It was much slower paced. Yeah. But they have rejuvenated it and made it sped up think about the vehicles alone. Like you can jump in a warthog and you're just like rocketing away, and that was not the case before.
And I think that's right there are some pros that I want to point out, is that as far as like weapon diversity, they could not add a single weapon and still have plenty there right now.
Sure.
And vehicles as well. There are enough vehicle variety. There's enough vehicle variety that you don't feel like it's lacking. You have the warthogs, you have the whatever they are without the cannons, without the railgun rather.
Yeah.
And then you have like the what is the missile hog, I think it's called.
Rocket hog.
Rocket hog. Thank you. God. Yeah, they're gonna eat me up for that one. So you get the rocket hog, but then you have the banshee. You got the wasp. You got all these other air vehicles, and yeah, it's really, really good. The mongoose, the gun goose. Like there's a huge variety of vehicles there, and it's nice. You can kind of pick and choose what you get into. The ghost, right? Like, yeah, you definitely have enough there as far as options go.
They're pretty liberal with the vehicles, except for like the high powered stuff. Like seeing a scorpion tank is a rarity.
Rare. Super rare.
It's cool when you see it. I don't really understand who gets it. Like sometimes it feels like it spawns on one team side and not the other. We were playing a big team battle game in Deadlock, I think is the map. And like they were up 2-1. Right. And they got the tank, which is like, wait a minute. Like it dropped in their spawn, which was kind of like, it seems like it shouldn't happen in that situation, right? Because we were done at that point. Exactly. Yeah. And that I think that kind of goes into what can be fixed that we wanted to talk about. That right there is something that they are not really making it apparent how they're deciding where these vehicles are spawning or anything like that. So I'd like to maybe understand that more, or if they need to fix something specific to make sure it's a little more fair. And again, we're in the beta technically, so that's fine. I think I'm trying to think the progression I don't really care about. And there was an article, I forget, it was like Wall Street Journal, I want to say, where there's a divide depending on your age, basically. And it seemed like, people of our generation just want to play the game and like we're having fun playing the game itself. Right, regardless of what we're earning from it. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then any generation below us seems to need that progression and like, what experience am I getting? What things am I accomplishing? And I like those things too, but it's not what's keeping me that's not going to keep me from playing the game. Right. And I just hope you're not being ageist, Brian. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. Yeah, no, I know. But I mean, many people would look at the progression and say it's a bit of a, see what I did there? Yeah. But I actually have to say, I agree with you. I think they give you like 5 different achievements you could work towards at a single time. And they rotate pretty consistently, and you actually earn things to swap out any that you might think are too difficult or just are based on weapons you don't use. So I do think like having that achievement based progression, it's not as bad as I initially thought. I initially was feeling like I was only earning the play a single match XP. Right. But if you actually just go into what your achievements are that you're going for, they're not hard to obtain. They're really not hard to reach. So if you do want to earn more, you can definitely work towards those and usually knock like 1 or 2 out per match. Yeah. Yeah. There's a danger in that. And I think this is what people are upset about is you get a group of people who are only playing to complete those challenges and couldn't care less if they win or lose the game. So I agree with you, but I also think the challenges aren't like mutually exclusive to the objective. So I had one that was like use the disruptor, which is not, it's actually, I've come to find it's better than it was billed to be from getting this achievement, but like I used it while going for the objective. Right. So just it's a good vehicle stopper. Yeah. It's not just that. So it actually does damage over time. 6 shots will kill someone. 3 shots electrifies them, and that the electricity can spread to people that are near them. And it's like damage over time. Okay.
So it actually has like some use there.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be strategic with it.
Correct. Which I'm not. I'm just like, shoot everybody.
This pistol sucks.
Yeah. But it is funny. We've played a good number of matches together, I think, since the game launched, since the multiplayer launched. And I always seem to have my worst games. Like, you could look at my service record. I'll go like 20-10. I'll go like 18-7. And then I play with Brian and I'm like 7 kills and 10 deaths. And it's like, what is happening right now? But I do have some highlight reel kills from playing with you, man.
Yeah.
I know you were like I did it right in front of you where that warthog was coming down and I just smashed it with a gravity hammer. That was great. Yeah. It is just fun to play with people too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun just to jump on with somebody and have a good time.
Right. So yeah, I see what people want and thinking that the progression needs to be fixed. I mean, 343 has come out and said we're working on it. Yeah. So that's fine. For me, it's progression is just gravy. Like, I'm there to play the game. I don't care so much about cosmetics or any of that. If I have stuff to like equip, then fine, but that is not why I'm playing Halo.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm saying it works. It's fine for me, but like, yes, it could definitely be improved. I mean, of course it can. Totally. But I don't think the improvement is making it strictly like XP based, like strictly kill based, KD based or things like that. I think having those achievements there for people who maybe aren't just slayers, it helps them get farther along and earn the cosmetics if they're into that. I did buy the battle pass. I'm for the cosmetics. Like, yeah, I'm going to use them. Shoot, why not? Like, I did get it also because I'm like, you dropped this game early on us and I get all of it for free if I want. I'm going to give you $10. It's cool. You could have my $10. And I don't regret spending, even if the battle pass, even if I wasn't okay with it, even if I hated it, like, I'm cool giving you $10.
Plus, it's there forever. You don't have to like furiously play to get your money's worth. It's just there.
No, I just have to furiously pay because I want to.
Exactly.
Which is what you want. Yeah. So I did want to ask you. We played a little bit of it together, but what do you think of the first event, the fractured Tenrai event? Yeah, what do you think?
Sure. So this is the one with the random weapons.
Right.
Yeah, that's fun.
Fiesta.
Yes, Fiesta. Yeah. So I think kind of straddling the two topics here, that's something that I know people are wanting, and I want to, is to be able to jump into specific types of matches like Slayer, like Capture the Flag. You don't have a choice right now. It's just if you want to do big team battle or quick play, and that's it.
Right.
So that would be something. But this is basically its own mode, and I have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, you'll sometimes get a bad run with 2 pistols or something, and someone else got like a rocket launcher and a hammer. But then you'll get that eventually, and just making use of that. I
do find like it only gets frustrating when you have like 3 spawns where you get like pistol or like not even like a decent weapon, and that's happened before. It is rare, but it has happened where I'll spawn and I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me.
But then you can go pick up other people's stuff.
That's true, but you have to kill them first. Yeah,
you do.
Yeah. But I do like it. I think it's made me appreciate weapons I wouldn't normally use. Also,
that's true.
So I do like the event as a whole. I find the best thing is that regardless of what game mode you're playing right now, you're going to find a match. There are so many people playing this game.
Yeah,
you will definitely find a match. But that also brings up the point you're saying you should kind of be able to pick and choose the mode you're playing, because if there are this many people, then you should be able to choose the mode. Typically having that rotation where it's just like, oh, quick play, and you don't get to choose the mode is because maybe player numbers are limited and you're just going to find a game that way. So I am surprised that you don't get to pick, like, I just want to play oddball for 30 minutes, and that would kind of help with some
of the beta. We don't exactly know.
True. And that would help with some of those achievements too. Like if you have a mode specific achievement, then you could choose that mode.
Sure.
So it would also help with progression, I think, having something like that in play.
Right.
But so do you have a favorite game mode?
I really like oddball. I have always been a fan of that. I would say Slayer. I mean, that's just classic.
Yeah.
Capture the Flag is not my favorite. And I hated that battery one. Whatever
the
that
power
one.
seeds
Oh,
one. Yeah, I know
geez.
what you're
That
talking
is not
about.
for me.
Yeah.
So I would say I am more of a 4v4 kind of person. The big team battle is not my favorite.
Oh, really?
I enjoy it enough, but it just feels like I'm like a very small part of the events. And yeah, you have to be a big team, and that makes sense. But like I could just as well not play and maybe like win. So that's the part that I don't really like. I definitely feel more important in a 4v4.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
What about you? Do you like, are there any team, or what modes do you like the most?
So I do actually like capture the flag. I do like oddball a lot. Slayer also, as you say, is classic. I don't know if there's a game mode that I dislike at all. The power seeds are fine. I find that a lot of people don't play the objective with that one, but which is fine. I'll play the objective. I don't know. I don't know if there's a game mode I don't like. There are definitely low points, and I think you hit the nail on the head by saying that power seed is probably the lowest one. I know that's not the name of the game mode, but I don't care enough to remember what it is. Yeah,
I had to ask you how to play as we were playing it. So
yeah, I do like 4v4 a lot. I think I just really like the big team battle maps a lot.
Yeah. They're very good.
Right. And I find that I've never had a problem finding combat in the big team battle. Now, whether or not I come out on top is irrelevant, but like I find people to engage with in big team battle because there are just so many. There's 12v12, right? And even though the maps are big, they're not too big as you don't run into people. And there are always like really cool pathways to get good flanks and get good angles and kind of get around people. With some of the smaller maps, I find like maybe I'm going in the same circle as everybody else, and like I have a minute. Yeah, it's true. And now, granted, I'm typically not going through the middle of any map. I'm just not good enough to put myself out there unless there's like some power weapon or active camo out there or something like that. I will not really risk that. But obviously that's weapon specific too. So yeah, I do tend to like the big team battle maps a little more. I wish there were more of them. I think there definitely needs to be more maps for big team battle, and there's some classics they could draw upon.
Oh my gosh, you know that they're gonna put some of those classics out there.
I hope so.
I'm so happy they didn't at this point, though. I'm glad this is all new.
Yeah,
because they could fall into that. We'll just do the best of and not do the work that needs to be done. These maps are so good. I am so happy with each and every one of them.
So I'll start with if you don't mind, I'll go through the quick play maps, and you can tell me which ones, like maybe top three, just off the top of your head, top three. So you have Aquarius. Do you know what Aquarius is?
I've got a picture of all of them.
Oh, cool, excellent.
So yeah,
okay. And then Bazaar, Launch Site, Live Fire, Recharge, and Streets.
Yeah. So top one out of those. Oh man, I really like Streets.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
I like Bazaar. I think Bazaar is really fun.
Yes, I agree.
And then Recharge. Recharge, I would say, is that was one of the technical beta maps, and I remember really enjoying my time there. Do you know which one that is?
I have to look it up, actually. I don't quite remember Recharge. Yeah.
So it's asymmetrical. Like there's no like this is here and this is here. It's the one where you have to jump over to get either the megaton hammer.
Oh yeah, no, I know which one. I know exactly which one it is. I do like that. Like that. Yeah.
That map is really cool. Yeah. I think there's a bunch of cool. You can do Slayer really well. You can do Oddball really well. That, you know what? That's probably my favorite map. Then Live Fire, then Bazaar. I don't really like Aquarius. That just feels too symmetrical to me. But yeah, all the other ones are really fun.
Yeah. Which one do you not like?
Aquarius.
Yeah, I think Aquarius is fine.
Yeah,
very symmetrical. That one.
It's not my thing.
No, I get it. I think it has enough levels that it does a good job of, at least you could be on different floors.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. My favorite actually is Launch Site, because it's a smaller game that has the vehicles, and it's another one that's asymmetrical, where you start out with the vehicles or you don't. And I actually find that I don't mind starting on either side. I feel like the better weapons typically are on the one side. There is a power weapon right by both spawns, but you can get to the active camo pretty quick in that map.
Right.
And that's powerful. But I do really enjoy that map. There's kind of that shortcut jump over the gap.
Yeah, because it's basically a C.
Right.
Top down. And then you can cross the C. With just that
the letter C. Yeah,
the letter C. Yes.
For the listeners, it's the letter C.
Yes.
And you can cross the gap in the C by doing the jump. And I did have a what is it? The thruster? Is that what this called? God, I'm so bad with these names.
Where you kind of like can dash.
No. For like shoving people away.
Oh,
repulsor.
Yeah, repulsor. Right.
So a guy was coming over the gap, and I used the repulsor, and it's like it went right through him. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I was definitely aimed at him, and I feel like furious about that.
Maybe that's just part of the physics, is like if he's moving through like
maybe
the air that quickly at you. But
you can also like
shove vehicles around with it. So I don't know.
I know. But I do really, that map also has a little pit like on the side of the main road that you take between them. And then there's also all sorts of little back rooms. Like if you end up with a shotgun or like a close range weapon, there are definitely plenty of avenues to take. There are good sniper perches. I just feel like there is so much in that map that allows for like unique gameplay depending on what your strengths are or what weapons you have. Right. I really appreciate that. I do agree that Bazaar is definitely one of my tops as well. I don't actually like streets that much.
Okay.
I feel like I'm just now starting. I've now gotten to the point where it didn't happen to come up in gameplay for me a lot, and I'm just now familiarizing myself with it a little more. So I do kind of know the map a little better than I initially did, but I was finding people were coming up behind me constantly on that map.
You have to watch always, like a 360.
Yeah. But
what do you think of Live Fire? That's another one of my favorite maps.
I think it's fine. Probably lower tier for me. It's fine.
Really?
But there are no. I also think there are no bad maps.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad map by any stretch. But I think because it was such a big part of the beta and the play testing, that I've done it, I've played it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I do like Oddball on that map because everybody converges in that one tunnel off the bat, right? And that always makes for an interesting meeting right off the bat. But no, I think it's good. Like I said, there's not a bad map, in my opinion.
So what about big team battle maps?
So for big team battle, you have Behemoth, Fragmentation, High Power, and Deadlock.
Yeah.
I have to say my two favorite are Fragmentation and Deadlock. I think having Deadlock take place at night, you kind of have the cave on the exterior, and on the other side you kind of have these cliffs you could traverse. You also have this big, I think what is it, a brute cannon in the center of the map or whatever it is, and you could find some cover around there with a good sniper rifle and pretty much cover the middle of the map with that. And there's always good vehicle spawns at both bases. Sometimes, however, you don't get the tank, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a good open map without being too open. There are enough mountains and outcroppings that can still cover you.
Sure. The coolest thing is that cannon. Whenever someone scores,
gets the flag or whatever,
boom, just goes off.
Cool. That is cool. And Fragmentation, I think, is just phenomenal as a map.
That feels the most I forget what the first Halo is called, but that map feels like a Blood Gulch kind of thing.
Right. Combat Evolved.
Well, I mean what the Halo itself was called. We're on Zeta Halo for this one.
Zeta Halo, yeah.
So I forget what it was called, but
same. No, I agree. It feels like Halo, and I always seem to have a good time playing that one. I think High Power is another good one. Behemoth is probably my least favorite.
I really like Behemoth.
Really,
it doesn't seem it's very open, but you can kind of sneak around fairly easily. But that one's just a circle, and
Right.
it like all kind of converges downward into a slope towards the center. But you can have a lot of vehicles.
Yeah.
It's a good sniping one. If you like sniping, this is a great map for that.
Right. Wait, is Behemoth's not big team battle, is it?
It is.
Is it? I thought it was a regular map.
I think it might, maybe it does both.
Yeah, yeah. But I like the one. So I do like all the maps, Behemoth included. But the one thing I appreciate is that they put those launch pads in so that if someone is sniping on those like farther away points, you could at least try to get to them quickly.
Right.
You don't have to cover that ground on foot, and that helps. You know, that really helps. Yeah. So what about you for big team battle?
So for big team battle, I would say, Behemoth is up there. Fragmentation is the other one. I really like Deadlock. I guess High Power is the weak link here. It's fine. I don't feel like I know it as well as I want to because it's humongous. I don't know which is the biggest one. Probably Fragmentation.
I would think Fragmentation might be the biggest one. Yeah.
That one feels the biggest.
I do think they need more maps for BTB. Obviously, they need more maps for both modes, but I think BTB is the more pressing matter.
Totally.
As far as more maps
We're missing,
go.
A couple there.
Yeah. So you ready? You want to get into weapons?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we're gonna
all these weapons.
Okay, are you ready? Oh my God. Should I list them all?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
that sounds good.
Here we go. We got the AR assault rifle, right?
Yeah.
BR is the battle rifle. You got the Commando.
What's the Commando?
So the Commando is that fully automatic. It's almost like a 50 cal.
Oh, yes.
Where you hold it, and you can. It actually has a really good zoom on it, but like this wild recoil, so you can't really snipe with it, even though it has a really good zoom. And then you have the Sidekick, which is a standard pistol. You have the Bulldog, which is the shotgun. The sniper rifle, which is a sniper rifle, guys. This is
the Halo sniper rifle.
The S7. Yeah. You have the Spanker, the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And the Hydra. Do you know which one the Hydra is?
I've gotten that one and don't know how to use it.
So it's a little missile launcher. It shoots just down sight, like wherever you happen to be aiming. But when you push the aim trigger, it will switch to homing missiles.
Right.
And you can actually lock onto a target and fire off, and it'll track them. But it's not that powerful. It takes like 4 or 5 shots to kill someone.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you have the Pulse Carbine, which is the 3-shot burst kind of, right? Isn't that what it is? The little plasma.
With the blue plasma shots.
Right, right. And then you have the Needler, which, like, if you don't know what the Needler is, guys, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
The plasma pistol, which sucks.
Well, there's you have to use it a very specific way.
I understand. Like, of course I understand. It's still not good. You have the plasma pistol, the energy sword. Yeah. The gravity hammer. The Mangler, which is like that kind of revolver pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Disruptor, which is a energy-based pistol. The Stalker rifle, which is an energy-based sniper rifle. The Ravager, which is terrible.
That's that
kind
area of effect
launcher.
Grenade.
Right. Yeah.
Puts down that red junk.
Correct. Yeah, like 3-shot burst. Yeah. The Skewer, which is really cool. You shoot a giant spike. Yeah. Shock rifle, which is an energy-based sniper rifle, but it's like an electric disabler. Yeah, it is 100% your vehicle disabler. It kills in one headshot though, so very worthy sniper rifle. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And then you have the Heat Wave, which is like a shotgun that melts people. You can do either vertical shots or horizontal shots.
It's the Dead Space gun.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. And then you have the Sentinel Beam, which is like full on laser.
Right.
And the Cinder Shot, which is a grenade launcher, but these grenades bounce.
That's
not
that
explode
one. Okay.
on impact. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you have favorites?
Definitely. So
yeah, of course, right?
Like, why don't we go with the types of guns?
Okay.
So for like an assault rifle, the assault rifle is definitely just the UNSC issue.
Wow.
Assault rifle is the one, my go-to one.
I get that. It's a good gun in this for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I definitely tend towards the human weapons, I will say.
Same.
I love the Ravager though. Like if I have a choice between a rocket launcher or not the Ravager,
skewer,
the skewer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Between the rocket launcher and the skewer, I would take the skewer.
You're
Because
insane.
I mean, it's a one hit KO. Like as long as you hit any part of the body,
right,
then you win.
Yeah, but like,
and
it's the instant. Rocket launcher is a one hit KO, and you don't even have to hit the body.
Yeah, but that relies on, like, I feel like I could get away from a rocket more so than I could get away from a skewer.
Depends how close we are, but yes,
it does totally.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing, is that with the rocket launcher, you have the potential to like hurt yourself with it.
True.
And the skewer,
I've done that.
I got like 10 no scopes with that thing in one match.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's so good. You don't have to zoom in at all, and you like always hit them.
Well, the thing that I find, and I do like the skewer, but if you miss, you're dead.
Yes, this is true.
Like
it's a long reload.
Right.
It's not like the rocket launcher where you get two chances at it. Which is the skewer is like you got one shot, but yeah.
But man, it's satisfying when you get it.
It is.
Yeah,
it very much is
satisfying. Yeah. So, do you have a favorite sniper?
So for the sniper, what do we have? I guess it's the S7 for me, the regular human one. The other one, what is the shock rifle? Is that what we're considering a sniper?
Yeah, the shock rifle and the what's the other one? The stalker rifle.
Okay.
So the stalker rifle shoots like the red shot, and the shock rifle shoots like the electricity.
Yeah, I don't like either of those weapons at all.
Yeah.
So I like the regular sniper on it. Yeah, definitide. What, same for you, or?
Well, we can go through yours first. And,
sure.
So do you have a favorite pistol?
The sidekick, the regular pistol. Really? Cool. For me. Yeah,
it's good.
I mean, plasma pistol is good with other weapons. I don't really, the Mangler's fine. I if I have to use it, I'll use it. But I much rather that rapid fire sidekick.
Yeah. It's good, and no recoil on that. Like it will always shoot where you're aiming, which is really nice.
You can do like a medium long range with that, and pretty well.
If you could feather that trigger, like you could do some damage with it for sure.
Exactly,
for sure. Yeah.
I think the shotgun is terrible in this game. Maybe I'm just not good at it.
No, I agree. I don't think it's that good.
The shotgun of the past was like, as long as you are right up on someone, you will kill them. I don't feel like that. Like it's always a two-shotter for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is not like, if that's going up against a energy sword, then you lose. There's like no situation where I've come away being the one with the shotgun and winning.
So what about the let's just call them utility weapons then, like a gravity hammer, energy sword, cinder shot, those sort of things. Do you have a favorite there?
Definitely the energy sword. I like the hammer, but the swing takes forever. It
takes a while. Yeah.
And that's one, if you miss, you're pretty dead.
Yeah.
I always can like kite people who have a gravity hammer coming at me. But with the sword, you can like be sprinting at someone and destroy them.
Right. I get it.
Cinder shot, it's fine. It's not my favorite.
Yeah. I totally understand. I've done well with the cinder shot, but I can see it. It's tough, Yeah. So for me, as far as the assault rifles go, like the rifles, let's call them, it's a battle rifle for me.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I find that
that's a great one.
And it's a matter of distance. The AR is great. Like if I have a BR and AR equipped, if it's a smaller map, I have the AR out.
Sure.
If it's a bigger map, I got the BR out, because it's just a matter of range, right? Like the AR from close to mid is going to do better. From mid to long, the BR will do a lot better. And I just find that cluster of the 3 shots is so tight.
It's good.
And like, oh man, I had a few matches I was playing earlier today in big team battle, and there's nothing better than taking out a sniper who's using a sniper rifle with the BR.
Oh, sure.
When you have the BR and you're just like, brap, 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 and you know, they keep missing you because you're moving. And oh, it's so nice, man. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah. And then for, the rocket launcher, I would take the Spanker 100%.
You would?
10 times out of 10. If I had the choice between the Stalker and the Spanker, I'm taking that Spanker for sure.
It's funny how they have, it's like, do you want to be accurate or do you not care about accuracy? Like two rocket launchers that are
Yeah.
very much on different spectrums.
Yeah, I got some good clips you better put up with me and that spanker, boy.
Oh yeah.
I just like it too. I feel like it's good against vehicles, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's excellent. And then for pistols, I'm a mangler, 100%.
Okay.
I think the mangler just like it's 3 shots sometimes. If you get a headshot out of one of the 3, it's 3 shots to kill. You could do a 1 shot and a melee and kill him.
Yeah.
Like it's powerful and it feels powerful and it's good at range. I think the biggest reason I would take it over the standard sidekick is because range. Like the mangler you could use at range.
I see.
And the sidekick is just like tickling people at range. And then for the utility weapons, there are some really good ones. The heat wave I've seen people be great with. I just can't ever seem to operate it as it's meant to be operated. I know it shoots around corners and it can do well in those situations, but I mean, for me, it's got to be the gravity hammer.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just because there's no better feeling than running into a room and like hitting the ground and getting like a triple kill or like an overkill,
right?
You know, like it's just when I did that in the match with you. When I killed that vehicle right in front of you, and I had the cinder shot and the mangler, and I'm going in. It was on fragmentation, right? And it was the second flag, so it's inside their base. And I take out that warthog and we're going in and I shoot like the cinder shot, a whole clip of it in there, 6 of them. And I just get the kill count. We could put the clip up right here, by the way. And I get the kill count going up and I see it going up and like, oh, it was such a good feeling. And I'm like, well, I got this gravity hammer. Let me run in there real quick. And there were people hiding out in the corners that my cinder shot or other people's grenades weren't getting to. So I go in there and I just hit the gravity hammer a few times and I get like 2 more kills. And I grab the flag and we actually were able to get the flag back to the base that time and checkpoint. Like that's it. You know, now we're on flag 3. So
it's funny how you and I have like opposite styles for both of these, like rocket launchers and the melee weapons.
Yeah, for sure. I do think that's the biggest thing is I play the game. I like the BR at a distance. I do tend to play at a distance, but like I also rush engagements sometimes. Like I will get in people's faces and melee them.
Right.
I just enjoy doing that, you know. So like something like the gravity hammers, like I'm not the one to like dance around and try to throw grenades. Like if
grenades are a last resort for me.
Oh, I mean, I typically lead with grenades. You know, I do use them
beginning or end of a battle for sure.
But like if there are people in a room, like I'm going in that room.
Right.
You know, I'll lead with grenades and I'll go in. Like, you know, it's just the way I play. Like, what's the worst that could happen? I respawn. Okay, I don't really care about KD, so like, let's go. You know. But yeah, I love the weapon variety in this. There's enough out there and there's always enough available on the playing field that you never feel like you're neglected a weapon and you actually get enough of a choice that you don't have to take something you don't want.
Yeah.
So they do a good job with that, I think.
What do you think about the Commando? Is that one good for you?
It's hard. It's like that in the Sentinel beam. You know, they're good if you can control them. And I'm getting better at controlling them. But I'll pass up the Commando, you know.
Sure.
I'll drop my pistol for the Commando.
That's true.
I will. And same with the Sentinel beam. Like if it's the first weapon I come across, I'm dropping my pistol for it.
Right.
But they just have this kick it's tough. You know? Yeah.
That's true.
But I'm getting better at it.
Nice.
Yeah. So Halo Infinite, man.
Yeah. Halo Infinite.
20 years of Halo.
Excited. Yeah, that's right. It's crazy to think that it's been 20 years. I feel like it was, I don't know, 5 years ago that thinking about like, oh, Xbox, like this is a new thing. And I just want my Nintendo and seeing this whole new contender just arrive. And I guess that's kind of what Sony did. They just like jumped in and were like, hey, we're here now. But Microsoft was I mean
Nintendo was going to use Sony and then Sony's like, you know what,
I feel like there's a similar through line with Sega though. I know that like Sega and Microsoft doesn't the Dreamcast use like some Microsoft operating system on it? I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be shocked by that. It definitely seems like it would be.
Yeah. And they have the same control scheme, like the Dreamcast, and then to the Xbox. There's an obvious evolution there.
Yeah.
And it's like there's now a Sega Microsoft partnership for games that they're doing. I forget the details of it, but they are pretty closely knit in a similar fashion that Sony and Nintendo were of the past. But yeah, it's crazy that we're here now 20 years later, and they've had a lot of hits, and they are one of the big tenants of gaming at this point.
Yeah.
And 100%. They are doing things that other people are not, which is very exciting. And I think that they know that, and that's where they're headed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could talk about
let's
Microsoft.
Cover it in order here.
Yeah, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I have
know.
Feelings about Microsoft as it stands currently, but let's maybe work up to that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, memories from each generation. So for like I said, I was a GameCube fanatic, at the time when these consoles released, and the Xbox was just that thing where it was like, okay, they have Halo. Like I hear people like that game. There's nothing else on it.
Yeah.
And that kind of continued. I mean, obviously there are more games that people look fondly on, but it was Halo. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah. I think from that first generation, the OG XB,
yeah.
I didn't have one. I had a friend who had one, and I kind of made fun of him for it because it was at the time it was a joke. It's like, oh, you got the Xbox, dude?
Right.
Like, and I would go visit him and play Halo for sure, 100%. That was a Halo machine. And play Thug, Tony Hawk's Underground.
Sure.
And there were a few other games we messed around with. There was like a football game he had. I think that was before EA owned like the exclusive license to the NFL. So I can't remember what it was, but it was fine. Like it was powerful, but it was a joke. Like it sold mediocre, if not poor. And I know there were even jokes about how badly it did in Japan. And I remember seeing like early memes about how, oh, it's big and green, so of course it doesn't sell in Japan because like Godzilla, right? And
really?
It was like, yeah. Well, it was early 2000s, man.
It's an American company, so that probably had something to do with it too.
Yeah, 100%, and like an unknown commodity, like obviously, but early 2000s, it was a time, man.
Yes, it was a time.
Yeah, but no, I did have fun on it, and Halo was great, but it wasn't a thing, it wasn't much to speak of in my opinion. Yeah.
I think 360 is where it popped off for a lot of people.
100% agree.
That one, we had our 360, our PS3, or the Wii. So the Wii on its own planet.
Right. Everybody had a Wii.
Exactly. Yeah. Grandma has one. Yeah. But 360 really felt like the strong contender for the entirety of the generation, all the way up until the end, where PlayStation was just like knocking out of the park at that point with everything Naughty Dog produced, obviously, and just like hit after hit, and eventually sold more consoles by the end of it. But yeah, the 360 just like was pushing things forward all the time. Exclusives, obviously Halo. This was the introduction of Gears of War, and that was its own behemoth and a tentpole for Microsoft at this point. But yeah, that was the place to play games for me.
Yeah, no, I bought two 360s during this console generation. I bought the first one and played it and loved it, got the red ring of death, and didn't get any Microsoft money, and I moved on. I moved on to PlayStation for a time. But what drove me to the 360, because it was still like, oh, really, Xbox again? And but I had enough people saying like, look, you got to get this. You got to get it. Like, it's good. It's got great games. And then I went to a friend's house and played Gears of War. And I think I bought it the next day.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was like, I played like an hour or two with him, and we played co-op. And it was like, oh, I got to get this thing.
Yeah.
And it was literally like the next day I bought it, and I never looked back. I loved it. I just yeah, this for me is when I started to move away from Halo, and Gears was the heavyweight of the 360 for me. Games like Oblivion.
Oh my gosh, that was my first game.
Yeah, Oblivion blew my mind. And walking out of the sewers, right? Like that's something everybody talks about, and it's part of the gaming zeitgeist for a reason. Like it should be. And I experienced that because of a 360. Lost Planet, you brought up a few weeks ago, like that needs to be mentioned. I played that on the 360. I loved it. Yeah, this was a great generation for Xbox, and I think it was really when people started taking it seriously, and really when you started to get Xbox fanboys, like people who were like, you know what, next generation, I'm getting an Xbox, and not like in a toxic way. Sure. I just mean like this is when it started earning people towards the brand,
right?
Like PlayStation had them, Nintendo had them for decades.
Oh yeah.
And now this is really that generation where people became Microsoft, like Xbox game players,
I think the big thing that they did right and banked on was online. They were the company that, I mean, with the original Xbox, they started Xbox Live and made it, you want to play online with your friends. You can't always get everyone together. And that's the only way people play games now. You don't sit on a couch with people anymore unless you have a very specific thing you're doing. Right. We would just never play games because we don't live in the same city. So
right. Wouldn't that be a bummer?
It's unthinkable nowadays to have to like go back to that and like arrange to meet up with people.
Yeah,
and
I do want to. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it just feels like we grew up in the way that it like made sense, like growing up and having the ability to have the time and being like in close proximity.
Your friends were close. Yeah, exactly.
And,
yeah, it's
impossible like, now.
I know. Think about that. We really like it was a good time because as we, because of our age, went off to college or went off to make our own lives in a new town, was about the time online gaming came to be. Yeah. So it did work out like really, really well.
Right.
I just want to give another shout out to a game I played a lot of on the 360, and it was Fight Night round 2, I believe, maybe I can't remember. I think it was round 2. It was a really cool boxing game. You would use the sticks to control your punches, and I had the haymaker down, so I'd always time it where like I'd come in with the haymaker and it would make people woozy right off the bat, and then I'd just like pepper them with jabs and get them down in like no time.
Nice.
And I cheesed that game, but man, it was fun. It was really good.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
So yeah, after that was the Xbox One era. Which I think most of us were just like, no, from the get-go, because they were trying to push the whole TV integration and the Kinect.
They wanted it to be your whole like smart home operated from your Xbox, and
yeah. It was too much, and gamers were not ready for it. Some of the stuff seemed cool. The always online thing, I know people hated. Here's the thing, we're always online at this point.
Yeah.
And it was going to make it so that you could essentially like share games with people. Like if I'm not playing a game that I bought digitally, let's say, there's nothing we can do about that. But with their system, it was, hey, Ryan, you can play this game that I'm not playing that I bought that you can be in my family, basically.
Right.
And we're kind of seeing that now a little bit. But that was something that was promised. And again, we're talking 2013.
Well, PlayStation got them with that one too. They're like, want to know how you share a game on PlayStation?
Nope. And on $100 cheaper. Like there was no contest. I pre-ordered the PlayStation 4 immediately at that point.
That was a hell of a little ad they had though, right? Like,
I know. It was game over at that point.
Yeah.
And then like no games. Like the Xbox One, I can't really name a single game that was like, yes, you have to have this.
Right. I mean, they tried. I felt like they were doing the wrong things with the, standout series they had, right? Yeah. Halo 5 and Gears 5, and it was just
all the Gears stuff was good. Yeah. I think that, but it was just I
skipped this generation. I really don't have room to talk because I did skip this. I mean, it was just I didn't ever see a reason to buy an Xbox One.
Right.
And I don't regret that at all.
Yeah. I didn't get it until I found one on Craigslist for $100, and it was like, oh, I might as well. And then that's when Game Pass started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history at that point.
Yeah, I will say, I think the writing was on the wall in the Xbox 360 generation, and the Xbox One generation just cemented it, that like Microsoft, look, it's silly, it's memeable, but they really do need to be better at naming their consoles.
Oh my gosh.
Like, for longevity's sake, they really do need to be better.
Sure.
Like, there needs to be some cohesiveness here, because, have people bought Xbox One S thinking it's a Series S? Like, sure, it's happened.
Probably
maybe,
some.
Maybe
I don't think that's a big of a problem as we all imagine it.
Right.
Because right now
it's silly. It's
silly,
just
the Xbox console.
Right.
Like,
because
you can say series and all that, but you're playing Xbox.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, and I understand. I don't think it's legitimately like a huge problem, but like, there are parents out there trying to buy a console for their kids right now.
Sure.
Especially given it's the holidays, and like, do you think a parent knows enough?
But that's the thing. Microsoft is trying to give you ways like, oh, you have an Xbox One.
Right.
Do you want to play Halo Infinite?
You can.
Do you want to stream this only on Xbox Series X video game, and you only have an Xbox One? That's fine. That's their whole thing now, is play anywhere, and it really is play anywhere.
Yeah.
I tried Halo Infinite on my iPhone, and it was pretty good.
Wow. So, how was the lag?
It was not as bad as I thought, honestly. Like, I was still able to play it. Anytime it's not perfect, it's not playable, essentially, for me. Like, why would I play it when I have the computer sitting right here? But in a pinch, and there are certain games where it's great, like a turn-based game, it's going to be 100% playable.
Yeah, I played deck builders on it. Like, yeah, it's perfect for that. But that does bring us into the Xbox Series. I think I came in at the perfect time. I do not regret skipping the Xbox One generation, and I am so happy that I bought the Series. Nice. I am so happy that I get to experience Game Pass from this 4K, like, crazy powerful console. It's great. It's really great.
It's unbelievable. Considering now we're up to $70 games, it just makes more and more sense every day.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've only bought one game for my Xbox Series X. I only bought Death's Door, which probably will be on Game Pass in a few months. Like, let's be honest, right? And apparently Mass Effect Legendary Edition may be coming to EA Play, and therefore Game Pass Ultimate as well.
Wow.
Yeah, there's rumors of that happening, because an image leaked of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition cover, and it had the Game Pass logo on it.
Oh, wow.
So, and then they quickly pulled the image down.
I mean, that game is dirt cheap now anyway, especially for the holidays.
So that would be stellar.
Yeah.
I had a feeling, so I avoided them, and honestly, it's made me like more tentatively, like more careful about buying games.
Right.
I have to think, will this end up on Game Pass? I don't want to spend money on it if it will. I consider myself a patient man. One of the reasons I avoided Deathloop, because it definitely will be on Game Pass in less than a year now.
Exactly. Even at that game's like $22 now.
Yeah.
But even still, it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
But that's been the thing for me. Like, I have this beautiful PlayStation 5. I haven't bought any games for it yet.
You're terrible.
I have Miles Morales from the PlayStation 4. Dude, it's $70 for a video game.
But it's not right now. It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, dude. Let's go.
Okay, $50. So we're at the place where games were.
I totally understand.
That's a hard pill to swallow for me.
I totally understand. I think you need to beat Miles Morales, first of all.
What about I have Guardians, I have Miles Morales.
You need to beat Guardians.
I know, but Halo.
I know, trust me, I stopped Like a Dragon, which I was enjoying the heck out of. And it's just Halo. It's Halo right now, and I get it. I think, though, you need to get Returnal, because Like
that's the one that I really, really want.
that is the one you should want.
I don't like it's $50 right now. It's going to be $70 if I don't get it right now.
And I feel like it's only going to, now it's in that game of the year talk, and it's not helping the price point at all.
I know.
Yeah. But there's enough that I'm very happy I have my PS5 too for those exclusives that are to come.
Right.
Like Horizon Forbidden West. Cannot wait.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we're not here to talk about PlayStation.
No.
We're here to talk about Xbox. So we just went through all the generations. Do you have a favorite generation?
I mean, it's got to be 360. That one meant the most to me. It had the best catalog of games. I think that generation brought, I started with Oblivion and ended with, let's say, Halo 4, and everything in between was just amazing. And I can't think of, outside of the Red Ring of Death, like I can't think of anything like, did I regret buying this console? Which I could see feeling that way for original Xbox or definitely the Xbox One. But 360 was pure value.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, and form.
So nice. So nice. I had to buy it twice.
Right?
No. I feel like I have to say 360 just because it was years of experiences. I do feel like since I've owned my Series X, I have made just as many great gaming memories as I did when I owned my 360. Maybe that's recency bias, but I have burned through games, like burned through them. I have played and completed at least 10 games since I've had my Series X on Game Pass, right? Some of them shorter, like, Slay the Spire. Sure, I completed it, but it's short. The Forgotten City, completed it, but it's short, right?
Sure.
But man, I just think like a big reason why is Game Pass, but I would probably say 360, but just to be a little different, I'm going to go ahead and say my Series X.
Sure.
And I'm not a fanboy. I don't have an affiliation to any console whatsoever, but I do think that my future is with Xbox in this generation. I think I'm 100%. Really? Yes, absolutely. I think if everything was equal and I had to spend the same amount per game, I would buy it on PlayStation every time. Because PlayStation to me feels truly next gen. There's, I know they both have those, SSDs, the NVMe's, whatever. Look, PlayStation 5 loads faster. Period.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
PlayStation 5 downloads faster. Period. That DualSense is top notch compared to the Xbox controller. It is like playing with a Fisher Price controller and playing with like the future. And I'm not dogging Xbox for that. I just said my future lies with them. And the reason why is Game Pass, like period. I will buy the exclusives for Sony. I have so many games to play on Game Pass that I do not need to buy games outside of that. Will I? Probably, because I'm a sucker. Like I just bought Guardians of the Galaxy, right? But
man, I spent $60 on that one and now it's like $25.
Same. I know. It's all right. I don't regret it. I got $60 worth of fun out of it. And that's the mindset I have with most of my gaming. But I just think like I said earlier, I got on this generation. I got on Game Pass at the right time. It's really when these first party heavy hitters started coming out. But I see with these Bethesda releases coming and everything else, I just see Game Pass eventually being not only the value for all these smaller games, but also like these first party games are going to be big this generation. I really think like this will be the one where Xbox starts pushing those first party titles that are close to the PS5 level of storytelling and quality. Yeah. And maybe I'm jumping the gun there. There's not a single one that is really released yet, but the potential's there. And I think they know what they have to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, they will.
That's the big difference with PlayStation is when they make one of those games, it's one of the best games of all time. When they come out with God of War or Horizon or The Last of Us, like those are going to be in the gaming pantheon for all eternity.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't say that about Gears 4. It's a great game. There's nothing wrong with it, but it did not elevate like a genre or anything in any real capacity.
Yeah, and the beauty, like I said, oh, my future lies with Xbox. The beauty of it is my future can lie wherever the hell I want it to.
Yeah,
like
you have
I don't.
both.
Yeah, I have both. And like, look, I'm not rubbing that in. I don't mean
Right.
it like wherever the hell I want. But like that's the thing. Every gamer has a choice. You don't have to be tied into one or the other. Infinitely happy I have both. And yes, that was a Halo reference.
If you had any one of you, if you had only a Nintendo Switch, there's so much to play at all times.
Exactly. But man, I am so happy to have Game Pass now. And yeah, it's awesome. So maybe we could talk a little more about Game Pass and
dude, the Rift Breaker. I want to get back to the Rift Breaker. That's a great game and one that I had no idea even existed until it was out, and like I could sink hours into that.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about some maybe notable Game Pass games and maybe head towards the wrap up here?
Yeah, that sounds good. We're running along anyway, so
all right, cool.
Let's do it. The Rift Breaker. Really, like honestly, that one is a standout because I had no idea it existed, and it's like everything up my alley. I know I've talked about it before, but it's the StarCraft base building, it's the research from those games, it's tower defense, it's Diablo combat, like it's all these great things wrapped into one. And it's kind of zen. Like if you don't have to play it like StarCraft. You can if you want to like min-max everything. But if you want to just like, I'm just gonna grab some solar power for a while and see how things go, like that's totally fine. It's when you expand out more that you have more to think about and deal with. That one's a notable game. Obviously, any first party stuff, like that's amazing that you just get it day one. Forza, I haven't even touched. It's sitting on my hard drive, and I want to.
You haven't played it at all?
I haven't played it at all.
Oh my gosh, wow. I probably put like a good 8 to 10 hours into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's one that I never thought I would want to play, but
maybe not that much. Maybe like 4 to 6, but I put time into it.
Yeah. So that one's up there. Ori, I mean, that was one that I got in the Xbox One era and was very impressed with it. And then just having those games at all times, those are some of my favorite games that I've ever played. Those are certainly some Game Pass hits. Trying to think of ones that are like, this was a Game Pass game, because sometimes it's just like, well, Ori was here and then it like came onto Game Pass because of that studio, basically.
Right.
Do you have any in mind?
Yeah, so I mean, I wrote these as though it's for anybody who is like unfamiliar with these games, when in actuality, if you've made it this far in the episode, you probably have played some of these titles before, but we'll see. I have to say Hades is on Game Pass. Like, do not pass this game up. If you have not played it, if you, well, not for me, but I played it in 2021. It's
true.
So, but if you have not played Hades, don't be like me. I let it go for a few months. I was a fool. It's a phenomenal game. I feel like Rocket League is free to play everywhere, but Rocket League's also on Game Pass. It's good. It's a great game.
Well, Fortnite's a great Game Pass game too.
Okay, well, true. Good point. Yakuza Like a Dragon, I think, is
all the Yakuzas, right?
Yes, they're all the Yakuzas are there. And I think the other one I would mention is Yakuza 0. But Like a Dragon is just so good. Especially if you're a fan of RPGs. The Forgotten City. Do not let yourself go through 2021 without playing through this game. It is short. I think it took me 7 hours. It is 100% worth your time. Some of the best, tightest storytelling I've experienced in a long time. I will say too, you said we're going a little long this episode. We've yet to hit that hour and a half mark, Brian.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Never mind.
No, you're cool. We got to keep it going somehow.
Yeah.
No, but obviously Halo Infinite multiplayer, if that wasn't already drilled home. Forza Horizon 5 is another good one. And there's a lot of like, retro rare games and there are a lot of.
How about this? How about the EA catalog? How about the Bethesda catalog?
Right.
That's unbelievable. And that's like within the last year that all of that dropped on there.
I will bring up a gripe. About Game Pass. You're talking about a what is it, anniversary edition of a 10-year-old game, and you're not putting it on Game Pass? Like Skyrim Anniversary Edition, not on Game Pass. Are
Skyrim
you
is
serious?
on Game Pass.
Skyrim Special Edition is on Game Pass.
Uh-huh.
Not Anniversary Edition.
Can you tell me one thing extra in the Anniversary Edition?
It doesn't matter. I'm sure there is, right? Like, would I play it? No, but like, that's a bit silly. Like, are you telling me that things like Starfield are going to be day one releases on Game Pass, but you don't put Skyrim Anniversary Edition?
That's the thing. They can only make money off of Skyrim Anniversary Edition. And if you don't want to spend money on Skyrim, then you can just play it on Game Pass.
Right.
But they're banking on people like, hey, we have this other one that you can pay money for. And they're going to get people to do that.
Of course. And I think there's actually a workaround where you get it for a little cheaper, because if you download the special edition, you could get the anniversary edition for like $20 rather than 50 or something like that. But it's still...
Look, we've all bought Skyrim at least 5 times in our life.
I know. And honestly, would I even download and play it? Probably not.
Right.
But there are people out there who would. And I think it's a bit of an odd choice. It's a bit of an odd choice.
I've spent $60 on Skyrim just to see it run on my Switch and never play it again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's an odd choice, right?
I don't think so. I think they want to get money off of that, and they can if they just like put it out.
Well, if you think Brian's right, don't message us. But if you think I'm right, you can reach out to us on Instagram at listoffpodcast, on Twitter at listoff_podcast, or on email.
Send us an electronic mail.
Yeah, at listoff. Via
AOL.
Yeah, listoffpodcast@gmail.com. We have a merch store. Okay, guys, it exists. And
do you have a link for that?
I do. I'd include it in the show notes.
Okay.
Which it will also be in these show notes.
Okay.
So it's the holiday season. You want to get your loved one something. You should probably get them something nicer than one of our shirts. But I think our shirts are nice, but like, honestly, they'd be like, what the hell's List Off Podcast, right? So get it for yourself. Treat yourself. Everybody needs something nice around the holidays. Show up with a new List Off hoodie to the holiday party. Spread the cheer. Everything is on sale, and it's actually not even a sale anymore because I'm going to keep the prices here. And they're just
crazy
low prices.
Ryan's.
I know. Crazy all the time merchandise. But yeah, the link will be in the show notes if you like doing that sort of thing. But I was going to go through the list of Game Pass games alphabetically on my phone here to see notable ones. I figure, why not? We got to get over this hour and a half mark, right?
No, 200 games to go through.
I'm kidding. But what do you think of Microsoft's future? We'll do a little short wrap up here.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of alluded to it just to lead in. Like, I do see it being, like, obviously it's already the greatest value in gaming, but I do see it getting to the point where, if PS5 does not release these bigger first party titles, I might be like, what am I doing here? Like, why do I have this monolith on my TV
I don't
stand?
think that'll happen. I think, the moment Horizon comes out, it justifies itself for another 6 months.
I'm kind of looking forward to Sifu too.
Yeah.
The more I hear about Sifu, the more I like. Just saying. Yeah.
So you're looking forward to February, basically, and the onslaught.
Who is not?
I am scared of February. This is going to be bad. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably just play Horizon and call it a day.
I'm going to be eating ramen.
That's right. Their future. So here's the thing. Everyone's in their own lane right now. Everyone has carved out their specific thing that they're doing. And I think that could go this entire generation. I think Sony wants to do their first party stuff and knock it out of the park. I think Xbox is banking on Game Pass. I think Nintendo has a lot of work to do, but they also have the seemingly infinite amount of goodwill that just never stops.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, it's something, man. Like I was pricing OLEDs today, so I don't know. I'm insane.
You are.
Yeah. Well, dude, GameStop is giving you $260 for your old Switch.
What?
Yes.
So really, an OLED would only cost you like what, 80 bucks? 90 bucks? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. I'm not going to do it because I have a launch Switch, so that's like high dollar. But
oh, is it?
I mean, for the modding community, that's the sought after one.
I have a launch Switch.
yeah, there's some vulnerability that is unpatchable that just exists on launch switches. That's why they got that version 2 out so quickly, because they're like, oh my gosh, this is bad. And they like the next week they announced that bigger battery version 2 switch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was a direct, like, we got to get something out here. Exactly. So I think Microsoft can afford to do this for a long time. I think what's going to hurt them is price. I think, I'm still riding that conversion wave of 3 years of Xbox Live Gold converted into Ultimate until the end of 2022. Like, I don't have to worry about paying for it. And I think, $15 a month is going to feel a little heavier to deal with when I'm like actually paying it.
Right.
And I really feel like before the end of this generation, we're going to get bumped up to like $20 a month.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm locked into like 2024.
Right.
So I feel very happy about that. But I think there's a price jump inevitably happening. You got to start sharing streaming services with people. I dropped Netflix, got on somebody else's account, and now there's my $15 a month if I got to do it.
We just do Netflix. We have HBO through AT&T.
Yeah.
Disney Plus we pay for sure.
Well, that's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's with a kid. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the future I see. I think Game Pass gets them a long way. I think that all of the studios that they bought, that is what's going to give them the promise that they've been looking for. And we're going to see that they have to, this generation, produce from everything that they bought last 3 years. And I think we're going to see that. And as much as I don't like exclusives, like this whole Bethesda thing, I mean, obviously they're going to do that. There's no getting around that. But like you, I mean, I have everything that I need to experience it all if I want to. So I'm not really too unhappy with that situation.
Yeah. So. We're #blessed over here.
That's right.
Like, no joke. I'm just the fact that we were able to get our hands on it.
Yeah.
Like the PS5 and the Series X, like, dude.
It's luck.
For sure.
Mostly.
For sure. God tier. I may not be God tier in Halo Infinite, but I am God tier in luck.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you see a similar future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all, like you said, they could all stay in their lane and do well. And I think that's huge motivation when it comes to making money. Like, if it's working for you and nobody's really trying to do what you're doing, stick with it. The one thing I could see happening is PS5, PlayStation creeping into the Game Pass kind of ecology.
Sure.
If
they
Microsoft,
have
but doing a better job of it.
Sure.
Especially if Microsoft starts, really competing with their first party titles.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think complacency is Xbox's worst enemy right now. We saw it with the 360. They were riding high and then shot themselves in the foot, like point blank.
Yeah.
And they had to like crawl out of the ashes to get this back to where they are now.
They did.
They did. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's a good end cap there. They are from the ashes. They got past their red rings and their connects, and they're now in a good place. So we're very excited to see what's next for Xbox.
Definitely.
But I think that's going to do it for our discussion, our Xbox Extravaganza, all things Microsoft.
Yeah, we have an episode for next week.
Yes, we do. Why don't you tell the folks what it is?
Sure, I sure will. It is the top 10 gaming conspiracy theories. So these are urban legends or conspiracy theories that surround certain games or just the gaming world in general.
Okay.
And yeah, I think this was suggested a while back, a long while back. God, I'd hate to name the wrong person, but I'm pretty sure it was Eric, who was on our podcast from the Side Questing podcast, which actually, like, I wasn't going to mention this, but they recently have gone on a hiatus, and I hope no matter what they do, they come back strong. And you were missed, man. You were missed.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed what you guys did, and can't wait to see what's next for you.
That's right. Very good. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching, and we hope you have a great week. See you later.
Bye.